Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chartless. I am Melissa Mulligan, and I am here looking at this beautiful Zoom room filled with faces of parents and young adults in the music making space. This is the second day of podcast interviews that I'm doing with parents and students, and I just want to let you all know that I am finding this to be so fun. It is so fun and so inspiring to see families connecting from across the airways here and really feeling so seen and heard and appreciated. A parent said to me the other day in a group conversation, she said, I know that I'm doing the right thing for my kid, but there's no gold star. Right? Nobody sits you down and says, good job, good job defying the odds or defying what society expects of you, and so the entire conversation felt like everybody was getting a bunch of gold stars. It was just incredible. So no pressure, you guys, but the last group was really good. And so I expect big things. For those of you I have not yet met, again, my name is Melissa Mulligan. I come into this industry first and foremost as a singer, songwriter, performer, music maker, someone who's just obsessed with making music. My first professional gigs as a coach in the music industry were as a vocal coach, which is a story for another day. And that has expanded into really 2 decades of road mapping, music career road mapping with those who want to pursue careers in this space. But today is really centered on the parent's role and joy and challenges in raising musically gifted young adults in this very uncharted territory. When I first started coaching full time, it was exactly 15 years ago this year that I started coaching full time. The music industry was very different. And the pivots that I have had to make have occurred probably every 6 to 12 months. And so as a parent, whether you've been in the field or not, I understand that you have some pretty unique challenges just in trying to keep up with the advice that's out there. You could read a book today that was in print last year to try and help your kid, and some of the advice, most of it might even be completely out of date. So let's dive in. I have some amazing questions lined up for those of you who took the time to reach out and share some of your story with me. So my first question is about societal expectations. Have you experienced fear, pushback, or judgment from other parents or people in your family? Or do you feel some internalized fear about your kid pursuing a career in music, just kind of based on our societal narratives and expectations? Nicole, I'd like to start with you. And Maddie, since you're here, feel free to chime in as well.
Hi, everyone. I did experience a lot of negativity, especially through our family. I felt that Madison was gifted at a very young age, I realized, and she comes from a family with no talent. So I really was steering a ship without having any course. And I kind of call our family the core 4 because we stuck it out no matter what anybody said. And we just pushed forward and we just do not listen to the negativity. And we've kind of just let the universe guide our path. And it's always taken us where we're supposed to be. And I feel that Madison has really benefited from knowing the expectations of the music industry. And obviously she reaches high. We all do, right? Everyone's kid reaches high. But we know how hard it is to be in this industry, and we just don't let that noise in.
What was it, do you think, that allowed you to make that decision? Was it, I can tell that Maddie is talented, or was it, I can tell that Maddie loves this and wouldn't be happy doing anything else?
Both.
Love it. Yeah.
I absolutely made sure Maddie was happy, and this was what she wanted to do before I said, okay, we're not going to listen to any of the negativity, because it's easy to listen to the negativity. It's easy for them to shift your mindset. But once I knew this was for Maddie and she loved this and her life was never going to be complete without music, it was a lot easier to tune them out.
I love that. And another reason why I think that's so key, Nicole, is sometimes I hear from parents who are like, my kid is so talented, but they don't want to pursue this, and I'm like, that's totally okay, because your gift is your gift. You're not obligated to monetize or share your gift. So I love that the heart of this was around Maddie's determination and her love of pursuing the craft. Maddie, how about you? When you were graduating from high school and telling people, "Hey, I'm going to go to Berkeley next year and study music," were any friends or adults in your life a little bit like, what's your plan B?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like my entire life has always been music and singing and performing, and people are always just like, "Oh, are you going to do that as a career?" That's a tricky thing to get into. A lot of people want to be famous and do music as a career. It's really hard to get into that industry because of how much competition. And I feel like with my family, my mom especially, she really pushed me to believe in myself and pursue something that I love so greatly, which is my music career. And the pushback and the negativity from other people just kind of did not matter because I had my support system, and my mom just really helped me through it and helped me believe in myself. And I know that what I'm doing is the right thing.
Well, good for you. I know we're just meeting, but I feel very proud of you
Thank
listening to
you.
you. Yeah. I think our desire to see people do well, and be safe can often make us forget that the best way to become safe in this world is to build resilience. And the only way you become resilient is by taking risks and by really getting clear on what it is that you value the most and honoring that. I chuckle because when young adults say, "I'm going to go into STEM, I'm going to go into engineering," right? I think most kids are like, "Cool, not my thing, but whatever, not worried about you." And most adults are like, "Good head on your shoulders. That's a good industry." I don't hear people going, "Are you sure?" Because I heard about these STEM students who then get jobs and they make good money, but they're miserable. They hate their lives. Do you know that engineers have a high level of midlife crises? Like no one talks about those risks of like, are you sure that you're not following something that you love for the fear of safety? Like no one goes into that. They just go, "Good, checks a box. Don't need to worry about you," as if that's all it takes, to be safe and happy in this world. Nancy, let's go to you. I've known you and your incredibly gifted son, James, for quite some time now. Fill us in. What sort of fear, pushback, have you experienced either on your own or from others in your life?
So, James was diagnosed with autism when he was 2, and it was very clear from the time he was a baby that music was an incredibly powerful tool for him, for connection, for engagement and expressing himself. And also just he loved it so much. And so that has been the through line through his life. He's 22 now. And it was funny because when he was younger and his perfect pitch was revealed and he had all of these almost savant-like skills at the beginning as a kid, I feel like people really embraced the whole James and music kind of vibe, right? And we all just kind of assumed as he was growing up and he became more involved in music, he started, doing electronic music, composition and production, and had some cool opportunities that, okay, this is going to be a path forward for James. And because he was on the spectrum, societal norms and expectations, I always felt like we were kind of fighting against those. He wasn't going to go to college. Nothing was unfolding the way necessarily it was unfolding for other kids his age. And so I had gotten kind of used to that. But then I noticed the older he got, I started to get more pushback actually from some family members and some people in our world who were kind of like, "All right, enough with the music. Like it's all music all the time, and like let's work on some other skills," which obviously we were doing along the way, but the focus for sure was always on music. And it wasn't just because that was what seemed like the best path forward to a rewarding future for him, but also just because it brings him so much joy and it makes him so happy. And so I always try to kind of keep my ears open, hear what people are saying, but like I know in my heart and I know from him that music is the way to go. And what's been sort of extra challenging for us over the last few years is we're now trying to hit some of those other life skills hard. He's in a life skills residential program where he's really working hard on all of those other things, and there isn't as much time for music. And we're working really hard to carve out those moments for him so that he can still work towards that path. So I guess that's been the major sort of source of pushback and tug of war between like, how much do we need to focus on him being a functional adult in society at large, and how much time do we grant to this incredible skill and love that he has for music?
I mean, first of all, your story and James's story are singular in my mind always. I think it's truly amazing the way that you have advocated for him, from a very young age, and the opportunities that you and James have created together, I think are from this beautiful partnership, of you being able to speak for him and advocate for him and then get him in front of people that really, really see it and recognize. So the way that you've brought people into James's world to help him, I think is really amazing. I think it's really, really fantastic and inspiring to see. And you're bringing up something that can become very universal for young adults who are incredibly gifted and skilled at music, is that at some point we do need to figure out, how are you going to be an entrepreneur, or how are you going to run your life in whatever way you can. This is a very entrepreneurial, freelance world, and so executive functioning skills do tend to come into play. We do have to support and encourage as much creative time and musical skill foundation building as possible. And then what's the best way for each student to start to incorporate business skills, life skills, other things orbitally around your musical talent so that you can actually have a business, live your life, etc. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Tim, let's go to you. I want to hear about, do you remember your response to my question about if you received any external pushback?
I don't. I didn't make a copy.
You were talking about how you felt like most of any of the fear or concern was more internalized on your part.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any massive pushback from anybody who's met Sam about the fact that he should be in music, because anybody who's seen him play or, has been like, well, yeah, that's what he needs to do. But, as any parent does, I think we start researching what the career path could be, or, how people we look up to have made it. And it doesn't take a massive Google search to go, oh my, this is hard. And everybody's path is different. So the internal thing is just, wow, this is so hard. Will I be able to help him do what we all believe he needs to do and can do? And in the back of my head, one of Sam's musical friends, beautiful girl, beautiful voice, great singer, and brilliant in so many ways. Her dad told her that music isn't a career, it's a hobby. And so that dude's voice kind of comes back at inopportune times and kind of replays. But my background is in advertising and marketing. So I've gone to music houses with brilliant musicians doing the music for our ads and TV and movies and stuff. So I know you don't necessarily have to get in a van and drive all over the Southeast, for 3 years and make no money and sleep on nasty floors. You can actually have a good career that makes you happy. And you can do some of that touring if you want. But we're just trying to find, all the gears and everything to make all that work has been an ongoing challenge.
I hear this a lot from parents, Tim, and maybe some of you here can relate, it's not that I don't believe in my kid, it's that I don't know the answers. Like, I don't know what to tell my kid to do because I don't know what the roadmap is. There is no, like you said, there is no blueprint to follow. It's not like there's a secret blueprint that nobody knows about how to have the career that you want, which is both good and bad. It means that there is no blueprint, but it also means that you get to do things in a way that really works and makes sense for you. Okay, let's ask Pam, Sherry, and Tracy, what are some unique challenges that you faced in your journey so far? Pam, let's go to you.
Yeah, it's actually a breath of fresh air hearing all this, because the challenge for me is I don't have this community, right? As you said earlier, it's like everybody that she's graduating with, a lot of them are doing the traditional tracks. And, I went to business school in corporate world. So that's how I am. So that's what I know, similar to what you said. So the biggest challenge for me is okay, my path was fine for me, but it's not her path. And just trying to find, navigating and finding like the opportunities for making music, for making a living. That you have those challenges in any kind of career you're going to go in. It's kind of that unknown. Like I haven't navigated it myself, so how am I going to help her?
Right.
So that's a unique challenge I feel in the music industry.
Yeah. I mean, I performed and toured for a living, as an original recording artist, and now, full-time in the music industry in another capacity. But at first, I decided to work in a cubicle in an office for my sustainable income. And they kept promoting me. So I wound up like a professional marketing director for medical devices. I was actually in the OR with surgeons going like, see, Melissa, how this doesn't articulate enough for me to get visibility into the cavity. My mom was horrified. She was like, you're an English major and a singer. That's all you're trained to be. You should not be in an operating room. Like, what is happening? But I can tell you this, that I personally think nothing is harder than trying to live day in and day out in an inauthentic way that is not aligned with what you feel that you're meant to do in your life. The money might be easier, until layoffs or restructuring happens, but I don't think it's an easier life, to make that ultimate sacrifice, especially when you haven't even had a chance to really let your true talent shine. So May, I understand that you've recently gone through the college audition and portfolio process. Yeah. How was that?
It was pretty good, and it was very welcoming, very inviting. And I also was able to participate in a program this past week where I got to stay at Rhode Island College for a night and then like be a mock student for a day. And it was definitely a very eye-opening experience, and I definitely enjoyed it a lot.
Good for you. That's great. You're probably getting a lot of unsolicited advice, so I won't bog you down. But I will say, remember that, you're auditioning them, not the other way around. You want to figure out, what are you hiring college to do for you, and which college is worthy of the job of helping you develop the way that you want to develop and get to where you want to go. And then when you select your school, you walk in there with your roadmap and you hold them accountable to helping you get whatever you need. So you're not just like rolling through their curriculum and getting handed a certificate at the end of it. You really get what you want out of it. But
one other thing, a challenge I definitely faced is, as of like last year, I was most likely going to go into music education. And then over the summer, I did my senior project in music education, and I found that I really didn't like it. So that was a really like interesting thing, because most of my family was like, oh, well, it'd be a lot more stable of a job, and it's still music. But the more I thought about it, the more I just like didn't think I could really do it. Because I've also worked as a camp counselor for like 2 years, and it's starting to like not be as enjoyable. So I think the composition route is definitely a lot more aligning with myself.
Thank you for bringing that up. This is huge, May. This is like a gem inside of this podcast. Okay. For anyone listening who thinks music education is a good idea for people who are all about making music, it usually is not at all a good idea. Music education is about education. Your passion needs to be teaching. It needs to be like pre-adolescent development or adolescent development in psychology. And whatever subject you choose to teach, that can be like, well, because I also have a tangential interest in this, or I have, sort of a skill set in this. It is often a really bad fit for people, especially people who want to perform for a living, and or especially creative minds who want to be making their own music. Those of us who love making music, the outside world thinks, well, it's music. Anything music should make you happy. Music therapy, music education, playing a wedding band, there's good music. The world needs to understand that those of us who love music, like it's in our DNA, we're super opinionated, and we often hate with a passion being involved in music that rubs us the wrong way. Like just because I like to sing does not mean that I want to get paid to sing Play That Funky Music, White Boy at a Wedding. I'd rather do your taxes. Like I can't do it, right? So just existing in the music space because it's music is like, oh man, no, thank you. No, thank you. It's like telling someone who's really passionate about football, like, why don't you take up clowning and juggling? That's physical. You know, you'll probably love that. And you can do kids' birthday parties. It's more stable. Like it's not aligned in any way. Okay. Sorry, you made me get all hyped up on that. But I totally appreciate that you brought that up because it's a really good point, May. Sherry, how about you? What are some unique challenges that you and your daughters have faced so far?
I'm in a little different boat in that my girls are in fourth and eighth grade. They've been in theater and singing since they were 6. So it's music all the time in my household. However, I always try to instill in them that going on auditions, they need to know who they are and what they bring to the table and kind of know their beauty from the inside out, because it is a pretty rough world, especially in the auditioning phase of things. And when they leave there, to know that they just may not have been the right fit versus that there was something wrong with them. And to ask for feedback, like, what could I have done better? Was it practicing more? Was it just that you were looking for something different?
Is it difficult for you, Sherry, when your daughters maybe don't get cast in something or they're feeling disappointed or self-doubt?
Sometimes, if they really want a certain role, of course. But at the same time, that's part of life, is being able to learn to handle the disappointments as well as the successes.
Can I add something? I don't really think that I like super react. Like, I'm not like, oh, my life is over. No, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I just didn't fit the role. Because like I learned that like I'm probably just not what the director sees as the role.
And what grade are you in, Eliza?
6th grade.
6th grade. I wish you could teach that to every budding professional that I work with in the acting space. That's a really, really healthy and mature way to go about it. And that's really that growth mindset, right? Of asking, okay, logically, did I put everything into this audition that I wanted to? And if I did my job, as opposed to worrying about the results and the outcome, which you cannot control. And you also really just can't take personally because it has nothing to do with your talent or your worth. Yeah, that's really mature. Good job. Tracy and the super talented Noah, what are some unique challenges that you feel you faced so far?
Yeah, well, first, I want to say that most everything that we've experienced with Noah's music has been positive. And it's been a joy to watch him dedicate himself to something that he's so passionate about and that he loves so much. But in that same vein, because he has such a passion and a love for music, he tends to become a bit perfectionistic when it comes to what he creates. And growing up, he started very young with piano at age 4, and he, as it turned out, was kind of a natural, and it came easy to him. And then after that, he kind of turned to the drums, and that also was something he was kind of natural with. I'd say when he was in high school, he decided he was interested in learning to sing so he could accompany himself on the piano and sing, and also songwriting. And those were not areas where it was as natural for him. So he started with lessons and things like that. And I would say the difficult challenge that I faced was watching him trying to navigate these new areas, getting frustrated with himself if he felt that it wasn't as good as he would have liked it to be, wanting everything to be a certain way and great, and wanting his voice to sound a certain way, and wanting the lyrics of the songs to come across a certain way. And I don't know, maybe having the piano, the drums come so natural to him. This was something that I think he works so hard and he's so committed to it that he wanted that also to be something that was perfect.
Sure. Noah, does that resonate for you? Because we're not going to talk about you like you're not here.
Yeah, I think it definitely does. You can go back to when I was in 9th grade and I was trying to sing. I love Billy Joel. I wanted to be like Billy Joel, and I was trying to sing Billy Joel songs, and I sounded terrible. So,
That sounds terrible.
I did a couple of years ago for sure, but I worked hard at it, and I think that I've gotten a little bit better. So, but yeah, I've definitely faced some challenges in terms of that. I'm still struggling writing lyrics. I've been writing my own songs a lot, and I have a lot of fun doing it. But lyrics are something that really does not come naturally to me. And sometimes the lyrics do sound a little bit awkward. So,
well, I'm excited for us to talk more, Noah, because you've just said a lot of things that I think are really universally felt. I would argue that it's a myth that writing great songs comes naturally to anyone. Some people love self-expression in that way, and so it feels like it comes easily to them because they let themselves do it. Like people who let themselves write crap because it feels good to write, then they can look back at the 100 songs that they wrote and go, ooh, these 5 are pretty good. And maybe I'll punch them up and get some feedback. And, so the difference between a great songwriter and a not so great songwriter is the great songwriter has written 100 crappy songs you never hear. You've written a few and judged them immediately and didn't finish them. And this is going to sound like an obvious thing. Singing is different from playing an instrument because singing is happening inside your body. And so you can have all the musical talent in the world, and singing is a different artistic act. It is more vulnerable than anything else. It is an instrument that you cannot completely control. And so it is very, very, very different. While there are some people, like maybe Maddie felt instantly like, this is my instrument and I intuitively know what to do with it. Making the connection between the sounds you want to make and the sounds that you do make is entirely possible. And I see it in you. Like I see it in the videos that I've seen, a really strong voice, a really beautiful musical instrument that's within you. And so it's probably finding a balance between letting yourself go and express without trying to curate your tone and your sound so much. Probably a mixture of that, as well as just, continuing on training and getting to know how the body, really makes sound. I've been working with someone for years. Your story reminds me of him quite a bit because he's also like piano prodigy, drums, can play any instrument. He has perfect pitch. Like if you played Beethoven and he had never heard the symphony before, he could listen to it, walk over to the piano and play it. But he struggled to actually sing in tune. Like he could hear the C sharp, but then he would sing it maybe 10 cents flat or 10 cents sharp. And he just felt like he couldn't control it. It was a physical thing, but he could hear the difference so instantly it made him nuts. Right? So it's actually been really, really challenging, over the years to get him to just feel comfortable and at home inside of his voice. So yeah, I mean, there is that curse of talent of when things come easily to you, you get a fixed mindset about it. I'm good at this. I'm not good at this. As opposed to just saying, I'm incredibly gifted. I'm going to learn these skills, to supplement what I want to do. Some of the hand-eye coordination stuff with the piano and the drums was lickety split. Other things, I'm going to work at. But I have no doubt that there is a lot more music within you for sure.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. What's the coolest thing so far about being a parent of a musically gifted and ambitious young adult? Teresa, I loved your response so much. I don't know if you remember it, but just talk to me.
Probably one of the coolest things has been watching the progression of Gage's confidence, just his demeanor, the love he has for music is just when he has a guitar in his hands, he can conquer the world. The fears and anxieties he has outside of that sometimes overwhelm him, but you put a guitar in his hand and he is happy. He also is on the spectrum. Music has helped him overcome some of those deficiencies in other areas of his life because, again, as he grows and he finds that outlet, it has boosted his ability in so many avenues in his life till it's just been so cool to watch.
It's been really cool for us to see too, as coaches of Gage. I think you had mentioned once before that he tends to be engaged. Apologies. We're talking about you like you're not here, but you're here. And we love you.
He's actually on camera, which is, again, very surprising.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I loved when we had one of our celebrity guest coaches on in Mastermind. And then I heard after that you got a standing ovation in the room after sharing your your song. But I know that Gage, does tend to be rather introverted. And
Yes.
and so it must be really cool for you to see confidence and authenticity kind of oozing out of him when he's playing.
Absolutely. And again, the opening those possibilities for what he can do and what music allows him to just express.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Teresa. And Wendy, how about you? What's the coolest thing? Your daughter's pretty cool, so I imagine the list is long.
It is. It is long. I don't know. The coolest thing for me is that she includes me in all of her adventures. So I'm a retired professional photographer, and she loves for me to photograph her. And so I shoot all of her cover art and her promo stuff. It's really fun because she has very specific ideas on what she wants, and she'll tell me that stuff, and then my brain gets to work and we figure it out. I mean, and then just she takes us on so many cool adventures with her talent. Her thing is songwriting and singing. But she also kind of on the side all these years since 7th grade has been singing the national anthem at professional sporting events. So she and a friend do this as an a cappella duet, and they've sung at NFL and Major League Baseball. And it is so fun because we get to travel to these other cities and get treated like VIPs with field passes. And, when they express this interest and show talent at a young age and you try to support it, and then as they get older, you see them start to come into their own. And I just am in awe on these adventures that, she can go out and sing in front of 70,000 people and doesn't get nervous, loves it. And just to see the high that she is on from that, when you see it in that way, you just know that you've supported the right things and that she's doing what she should be doing. And I'm just so thankful that that she includes me in this stuff. It makes me feel really special. I sit over there and just fangirl. I'm just the biggest fangirl of my own child. I love it. It's really cool.
I love that too. And I know that to be true for sure. Avery, anything you want to add to that? Is it nice to have mom and dad be your biggest fans?
It is. I am very lucky in the fact that whenever I first started doing anything musical, it started as musical theater and voice lessons and stuff, but they never once questioned it. And when I said, oh, actually, I think I want to switch and focus on songwriting a little bit more, instead of being well, we don't know anything about that world, they were like, okay, and started researching are there songwriting instructors? Are there classes? Are there private lessons? And we found you guys, and y'all helped me figure out that I wanted to pursue songwriting more than musical theater. And if I hadn't had that support, I don't think my life would be the same at all. And I definitely wouldn't have taken myself as seriously because my brain was always oh, well, this is just a hobby. And so when I realized it doesn't have to just be, they were okay, what do we do now? Let's figure it out together. And I know that my situation could have been very different. And so I'm very thankful that they're down for anything. And like she said, it's nice that I have resources to have creative projects and we get to do those photo shoots and stuff, and we challenge each other. I say, here's what I'm thinking. And she's I don't know if we can do that. And then we figure it out, and it's something that we get to bond over. And still living 11 hours away, every time I write a new song, I'm sending it to her. The other day we had the songwriting exercise and you were I bet you'll make something cool out of this. And I literally that night I wrote something and I sent it to her and I was I did this after class tonight. And so it's the same as whenever I was 16 and I'm 22 and I'm still sharing everything the same way.
Can we not blow by the fact? Did you just tell me that you got through your writer's block last Thursday after our class? I'm so excited.
It worked. Something that you're doing is, you know what you're doing, I guess.
Maybe if I keep at it, maybe there's a future in this for me.
For sure.
Thanks, Avery. You're the best. I do feel a little bit guilty now. I still give my mom such an attitude when she tries to take my picture. And here you are like, I want to do photo shoots with my mom. And like, I'm just thinking about at Christmas when my mom held up the phone to take a picture of me opening a gift. And I was like, stop it.
It's a resource. Not everyone likes having their photo made, but she has always loved it. And so it was just a perfect segue that for me to shoot her stuff. Great.
Also, to be fair, if my mom made me look as good in the pictures as you make people look when you take their picture, I mean, you are a total pro. Like, I want you to fly out to New York and take my next pictures. Melissa, how about you with Kira? What are some of the coolest things?
Oh, I would say probably the coolest thing is just seeing the person that Kira has become on this journey. So Kira is the youngest of 4 kids. They grew up doing musical theater together. And Kira, her gift with her voice was apparent from when she was 4 years old. But growing up and encouraging our kids to pursue whatever they were passionate about, they did all do musical theater together. And her older brother quickly revealed himself to be a very gifted actor. And so when it came time to deciding, okay, what's your future look like? Initially, it was, okay, you are a very gifted actor. You should probably go to college, pursue some sort of backup plan so that you could have some stability as you're trying to make it as an actor. And then I don't know what happened, but there was one day something flipped in me, the switch flipped. And I thought, you know what, if he wants to do this, he has to go all in. And I had this conversation with him and he looked at me like, are you serious? Do you really think I should do this? And we both just realized, yes, this is how it needs to be. So it was very scary, having the conversation with his dad, my husband weren't sure and he embraced it. So once we embraced that, we were now just along for the ride and we're able to really enjoy seeing what they're doing. So when Kira came up trying to just develop her art, her singing, her music, she started falling into this more popular and commercial music. And she really has driven her, where she's going on her path. And we have been there behind her, supporting her, encouraging her. And, commercial music it's kind of unique because it's not just, can you sing? It's not, can you write songs? Can you play an instrument? You're really putting your entire self out there. And Kira is literally one of the coolest people I know. And so this just feels like the right path for her. She's just the right kind of person to do this, to take on this path that she is on. And I'm just in awe of her. And I just love seeing who she's become. She's got a confidence, this air about her that is just very unusual, I think, in young women. And it's the coolest thing.
I love that so much. And I also love that you brought up that idea of like, should I go to college for something else as a backup plan versus going all in? I always say to families, if you major in acting or music or something in the arts, there's plenty of work for you to do. Like most of the people who graduate with a degree in the performing arts wind up working in other fields. So you don't really need to worry that, oh, I got a degree in the performing arts, but I'll never work anywhere else. There is no back. Like there's plenty of things that you can do because you have to be this incredibly well-rounded person to get into these programs, let alone come out of the other side of them. My concern, because where I work in the music industry, I'm working with all of the graduates from the Berkeleys and the Loyolas and Frost and USC and Clive Davis, right? What I worry about are the students who think, and I don't think this applies to anybody here, but the students who think, well, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to major in commercial music, and then I'm going to have a much better shot at having a career. That's what I worry about, because that's the bigger myth, is that a college program is going to spit you out a great artist, mega connected, and then I can just write my own ticket. And also, what's a sustainable income plan going to be, right? So it's never about, if I go all in, I'll never be able to do anything else. It's like, no, let's go all in, but let's also go all in with like a really grounded career roadmap so we know what we're holding college accountable to do. And so that we also understand what college will never do for us as artists, that we'll need to, continue to do and build on our own. Kira, let's hear from you. It sounds like, mom admires you a ton. How has it been for you navigating this space so far?
I mean, yeah, I grew up in the arts with all of my siblings, so it was never really a question for me. And then once I started getting into high school, I was like, there's nothing else I would be doing. There's no other path for me. And like you said, with college, I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to go into college and then get done with this program and just be famous and performing. No, it's not about that. It was more about, I'm going to develop myself as an artist while I'm in school, and then that's my program I'm in. It has a lot of business side to it as well. So my plan was to develop myself and see if I can make it on, my own, do social media, promote myself as much as I can on my own, and then use college as a business sort of backup plan in the music industry. Because I know if I'm not going to perform, I have some future in the industry.
Sure. If it's helpful at all, I usually reframe the idea of a backup plan to be a sustainable income plan. Because it's not, if I fail at performing, I have something to fall back on. It's, in order to become successful as an artist, I will need an income stream while working toward my original music becoming my full-time income. So I look at it not in case it doesn't work out, but in order for it to work out, and in order for me to stay in this business long enough, I'm going to create a sustainable income plan, which it sounds like you're definitely doing. The also smart thing about studying music business or business in general when you're in college is it tends to be something colleges do well. Colleges are not artist development incubators, right? Okay. And you need to know the music business well. You told me earlier that you'd love to maybe own your own label. Poof, you do, because you're your first artist and it's your job to launch yourself as an artist. So learning all about that is going to make you a really smart, savvy representative of yourself, even just to begin with. So I'm a big fan, Kira. Before we do some of the questions that you submitted, can I ask the students who are here, what's the best advice you've received so far? Maddie, let's start with you. What's the best advice you think you've received from your mom?
I think definitely the best piece of advice that I received from my mom is to just keep trying, honestly. Also, the second part of advice to that is not to take it personally when a door closes, because every door that closes is another door that will open. And so, especially in college, I've auditioned for quite a few things, and I've had good news and I've had bad news, and I just take it with me, whatever the news is, and kind of shape a better performance or perspective on what I could do better or what I did that was really well. And I think definitely the best piece of advice is to keep trying.
Yeah, well, because in the real world, you don't have to audition. You just show up and do what you're going to do and you'll attract your audience. Yeah. So who cares? That's my response to someone who's in Berkeley for vocal performance. Who cares? You don't have to audition. Your audience will love you exactly as you are. Harper, best advice you've received so far?
Something that my mom always tells me to do is just reach out and make friends and keep the friends that you already have, because if you are kind, good things will come and people won't want to help you, and yes, the people around you want you to succeed. That's the thing my mom always tells me to do, and sometimes I don't do it, but I should do it more.
Well, I can tell you that I've always experienced you to be very kind. And when you were in our mastermind program, you were always so gracious with the entire community. Remember, you would help other artists write their elevator pitches because you would come up with cool words and phrases for their sounds, and everybody was like, I just need Harper to brand me because they're so brilliant about that. And it's really good business advice. I mean, one of our coaches on our team, Coley O'Toole, amazing platinum selling songwriter, and has done amazing things, but he recently got the gig to go on the arena tour with Green Day as their keyboardist and singer. And yes, you have to be great at what you do, but people need to be able to say about you, this is the nicest person you've ever met. And they are such a good hang. They're a good time. They're total pros. They're not partiers, but they are so easy to be around. Like that needs to be the first thing they say about you. If they're bringing up your name, it's a given that you can play your instrument well. So the very first thing that you want people to say about you is they're a really good hang. They're great to be in the room with, you know? And then if you're getting things like, and I would trust them with my life, you know, that sort of thing is what helps people get in the room. Your name comes up because you're great and because you're top of mind, because you're good at keeping in touch with people. But the recommendation that really moves people is that personal connection, vouching for it. So it's very good advice, Kelly. Gold star. May, good advice from your mom.
I think that the best advice that my mom gave me is just to always be myself. It's a very cliche thing, but it's definitely true because like I said, if it wasn't for being myself, I probably wouldn't be pursuing music comp. And I just think it's very important to be authentic. And my mom has always said that. And I'm very thankful for that because I feel like it's really shaped who I am as a person, just in general.
Yeah. It can be risky. It can feel safer to chase what you think other people want you to be or what social media tells you should be doing. So it is good advice. And I think every young adult hears that. So good for you for really doing it, for trusting, that's good advice. So good for you. Yeah. Eliza.
To pace myself because you need to go slow. Whatever career you want to do, it's a slow process to get there. And you need to trust in the process. Okay, in school, it's like the pacer test. In gym, you need to, not too fast, not too slow. You can't go too fast that you'll run out of energy and give up. And you can't go too slow that you'll just never make it there.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard it put quite that way, but I love that. Thank you. I'm going to remember that when I talk to some of my students. Yeah, really good one. Noah.
I actually agree a lot with Harper when she was saying that's really important to be nice to people, be interested in what other people have to offer. I think that applies to both when you're performing and when you're making connections. I like to think sometimes you can be tempted to be a little opportunistic, trying to make connections, and you really just have to be authentic and you have to be interested in what the other person has to say. Really care about them. I think the same goes for performing, where you should look at your audience I'm thankful that they're here. These people are the best. I want to do my best to entertain them, rather than this audience isn't paying attention to me. Something's wrong with them. So you just have to sometimes think outside of yourself and outside your ego.
I love that. Yeah. Thinking outside yourself, outside your ego, leaning into that gratitude all the time. I love that. Yeah. Avery?
I think that the thing that I still am learning how to do is she's always don't be so hard on yourself. And you know this about me, Mel, but I think that I will be so frustrated with where I'm at with writing or producing or whatever. I'm in a slower period of time and I'm not creating things that I'm loving or whatever. And in the past, I've written, I don't know, a verse. I'm I don't really like it. And she's like, but you wrote something today. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's true. It's I'm really bad at not acknowledging my small wins, but she is the first person to be like, but you've been telling me that you were struggling with this thing. And so this is a great step in the right direction. It's so much easier said than done, but remembering to give myself a pat on the back for okay, I'm still trying. I'm still here. I'm still accomplishing things, even if they're not huge things.
Yeah. It's that growth mindset, right? That it all comes back to, it's not, did I write something great today? It's, did I spend time writing today?
Yeah.
That's the only expectation that you can really have of yourself as a creative is did I put in, that 10 to 20 minutes, because the great creative outbursts will come, Yeah. That's really good. So, all right. Good job, Wendy, teaching that growth mindset. Kira, did I get to you yet with great advice?
Well, the music industry, navigating a career, it's a really rocky thing as a young adult. And I think the best advice my mom has given me when things get like really rough is sometimes we all have to do hard things. And even if I'm at my lowest and I don't even want to get out of bed and there's some crazy stuff going on, I remember sometimes we all have to do hard things. And it's those little days that make it all worth it, I guess. It's the best advice and I take it every day.
Reminds me of that, there's some memes and TikToks going around about choose your hard. Like it is hard to show up and write music or audition for the thing or, do the hard work required to get where you want to go. It's also really hard to live a life unrealized and to just continue to tell yourself that you're not worth the risk. So choose your hard. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Kira. Gage, what's some good advice you've gotten from your mom?
The best one I've gotten and the one that really hits the most is to not be hard on myself. I'm the utmost believer that I'm not the best at my instrument and that I'm really bad. I constantly think that I'm horrible, that I could do better at certain things, no matter how good I do in the moment.
Does it help? Are you able to take your mom's advice from time to time?
Only from time to time.
I get that. But it sounds like it's working its way into your brain and you have that awareness that you are hard on yourself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, good. Good for you. So I asked some of you if you had questions that you wanted to go over today. And I'd like to start with Tara. Let's go over to you. I'm big fans of Tanner and Tori. How are you doing?
So we're always, I'm going to ask you my Tori question first. We're always a little bit concerned about are we doing it right for the self-publishing? So she's done it all herself. She filed her copyrights, federal copyrights. She recorded all her voice memos and sent them the thing, got copyrights on her songs. Then she would go to DistroKid or whatever. And she has a pro DistroKid account that she made herself and she's doing the thing for that. And so she's just typing everything in the little boxes on DistroKid. And we're we think we're doing it right. But do we need to have a publishing, is she her own publishing company? What is that?
Sure. Okay, there's a lot to it. But my first question is she a member of a PRO?
I think yes. Is that dumb? I think she did it, but it might have expired because I think they're every 2 years and she was BMI, but I haven't actually.
So the most important thing, and this is self-publishing 101, you do not need a publisher. You should not go with a publisher.
Okay.
I'm just going to say right this very second at this point, don't even think about that. But every songwriter needs to be a member of either BMI or ASCAP or CSAC. You cannot join more than one.
Yep.
They are the nonprofit organizations that pay songwriters. It's the way that songwriters get paid. So any songwriting royalties that are being generated, she will miss out on if she's not registered officially with one of the performing rights organizations. Now, when you sign up, you should reach out. I'm most familiar with BMI and ASCAP. They are the two bigger ones, but they usually have representatives that you can talk to for new songwriters. And what they can help you do is set yourself up not only as the songwriter, but as the publisher of your own music, because there's monies there too.
Okay.
And so you want to get both. You want to get 200% of your royalties, not the 100% that goes to you as the sole writer. You also want to get the 100% that goes to the publisher. But yes, that I think is the only missing piece. How about my friend Tanner?
Is it time for Tanner to get an agent? Tanner has written probably 300 songs. He's recorded cast albums for whole shows he's written. He's performing them at FSU. He's part of the FSU theater troupe. They took a show to New York last summer. He worked there on sound design, and then they're taking a show to Atlanta. He's doing the thing, and he's doing it successfully and making industry contacts.
So Tara, an agent for what? To do?
I have no idea. I'm how does he go from where he is right now, which is a guy who has written several full-length musicals and has 300 songs in his catalog, to turn that into a career of selling those things.
So you mean the musical?
Yeah, I think he's ready for whatever the next step is. He has more than one completed musical with music, lyrics, book, recorded things from his fellow students who have volunteered on his records to record them. And yeah.
So agents are the result of your success, So this is on him first, I think, to launch a workshop or a show or a showcase, but it 100% can be done.
I have a question related to that.
Yeah.
So does that mean that's like money out of our pocket to like launch the workshop? Like does he need to stop for a year, get a job, fund himself?
No. I mean, what he probably needs to do is learn how to put a great pitch together.
Okay.
And I've worked with people who've done all of this completely for free. I mean, you can put a great pitch together. You can get other students and other performers who want to be involved to work with you on it. And then you can get some video together. You can pitch something to like 54 Below or the Green Room or something, and you can put on like ticketed shows, you know? Yeah. So no, I'm not suggesting that he quit school and start workshopping his company.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, if it's like us putting it out of our pocket, then it's going to be different than like him. That's why I'm like, do we need an agent? Do they sell these things? No. He just pitches to theaters and that's that. I know it's a big question.
Make it sound so easy, Sarah. I think he's still at a phase where he should start to build some content.
Yeah.
So I think creating pitch decks, capturing video of things that he has done so far, like high quality video, and then also if he has like the score available, all of that, and then learning how to research where to pitch, you know, and where he can bring performances, concept shows, etc., whether that's to New York or elsewhere. I think that's probably where I would start.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thanks, Tara. Nicole, you had a question about quote unquote legitimate connections. So I want to know more about that. And Maddie, of course, you can chime in as well.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously I've stated that I really have no business in this business. And so I often feel very lost, like I'm walking in circles. And sometimes I feel like that's a disservice to my daughter, who is extremely talented. I've done everything I possibly could to nurture this. I found good vocal coaches, piano, guitar. She has mentors beyond me. But sometimes, you know, like she's auditioned for The Voice and things like that. And she's gotten through some rounds, which to me is like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm so happy for you. I don't care that she gets on or she doesn't. But I think in Maddie's eyes, when I say legitimate, that's not where she wants to go. She would never want to be on an American Idol or a Voice. You know, she wants to be taken seriously. And I don't know where to direct her to do those things.
Sure. Maddie, what's the unicorn jumping over the rainbow dream for you?
I really would like to have my own music out there and, you know, have a band and play stadiums and just be able to connect with an audience and have a base of people who absolutely adore my music. And I just want to play, you know?
Yeah. You don't need a single legitimate connection to make that happen. I'm kind of kidding, but
feels like that's not true.
No, but it's actually true. Here's how it used to work. It used to be that if you were talented and ambitious, it used to be that you would need to become great. You'd need to become a great songwriter and a great singer, and then you'd need to get in front of somebody. And that somebody would recognize your talent and your skill and your ambition and your inner beauty and your authenticity and all the things and say, I'm going to make you a star, kid. And then it would be their job to launch you. And it was the only way that you could have a career. You had to get in front of the right people at the right time. And that myth still permeates our culture, even though that is opposite of how it works right now. You must, on your own, become great, develop yourself as an artist. You also really need to be able to produce yourself and record yourself well so that you can write, record, release, perform. Write, record, release, perform, collaborate. Write, record, release, perform, collaborate. Develop your audience. Really grow, really grow and mature as an artist and as a creative. Find your audience, develop more popularity, have a fan funnel so that you can communicate with your fans on a regular basis. You've got to get yourself to a point where the project is successful. And at that point, industry options are abundant.
Where does she start that foothold?
You start by creating the skills that you need so that nothing's going to hold you back. First things first is like, do we have great music? And do you have the ability in my opinion, I think this is very important. Do you have the ability to record it? You don't have to be, Pharrell Williams or Phineas, but can you get your point across? And then I think starting to figure out that write, record, release, build the audience, collaborate, like all of that, that's what all of my artists are doing day in and day out. And that is where more business opportunities will come your way. The other thing that I will say is the best way to make legitimate connections is to recognize that your peers are the future of the music industry. And within the next 3 to 5 years, a lot of the people around you and a lot of the people in this room are going to be blowing up. They're going to be very successful. And if you're known to be kind, creative, excellent, a value add as a co-writer, as a producer, then you will have a lot more opportunities. So gone are the days that you need some older gatekeeper to believe in you. You really don't. It's not their job. And they're not super interested in that necessarily because it's so hard to launch a new artist. I mean, 100,000 songs, new songs are released on Spotify just about every day. Like if you tried to listen to all the songs that were released today on Spotify, you'd have to leave Spotify on 24/7 for like over a year, I think, in order to hear them. So what the industry is usually used for nowadays is to scale a successfully launched project, not to successfully launch something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Maddie, is that earth-shattering news, or is that pretty much how you had figured I was going to answer that question?
I feel like it's somewhere in the middle because there is still that stigma that you need to make connections and people in power will help launch your career. But I definitely feel as though making connections with just my peers has helped me out so much. Like I've collaborated with other people in my college who have helped me with Logic and have added assets to my songs that I couldn't have done without their help. So that has actually helped me a lot too.
I love that. I cannot thank you all enough. I'm just in awe of you. Just as parents and as students, we really need this kind of light and inspiration in our world. We need this commitment to the arts and to people making music, being themselves, like May said. So I really appreciate you all so much. And I cannot wait to put this episode out in the world and make y'all a little bit famous. Thank you all.